Productivity Arata. What can you do when your staff put forward requests to which you just cannot say yes at that particular time? There will be times when you will receive requests from them to be absent from an extended period of time, or to take sabbaticals, or to change the terms of the contract. Maybe they want to work only part-time, to move to another department, to get financial support for an MBA, work from home, or any other request that might actually be reasonable. Or maybe they even have some very good ideas. See, because in addition to making requests, maybe your staff can make creative suggestions as well, but you cannot accept them. So in short, you usually take great satisfaction in giving them full support, but there are other contexts to which you just cannot say yes without being irresponsible. You know, you might want to be the best boss in the world, to be a nice colleague, a respectful colleague, yet the company will expect you to say no sometimes to your employees. So this video will help those of you who want to learn how to say no to your employees at work. Respect your staff as adults. First of all, you must appreciate the human dimension of the relationships in your workplace. If you have access to Arata Academy's communication course, which is How to Say No, you have already noticed that one of the main human needs is recognition. It is the need to feel that we are important, that we deserve attention and dignity. And in case you don't know the course How to Say No yet, well, you can visit the link arata.se/how to say no. If you are a manager or director or the president of a company, at times there will be a little bit of a psychological hook pushing you to go to the role of the parents who want to raise their children as best as possible. And a good upbringing of children requires the setting of healthy boundaries. Saying yes all the time is not the best thing, because that may spoil the children, right? So since you value progress and even the survival of your company or your department, there will be times when you need to decline a request from your staff. But you cannot behave as if you're dealing with little children who don't understand things and they need to get a no from an adult. See, your employees are also adults, and regardless of the hierarchical level in the company, they deserve to be treated on an equal footing with dignity. This first step seems to be obvious for many people, but you will be impressed when you are with a group of senior professionals who are in management positions and who grumble about their employees, how clueless they are, and they're always asking for absolute things, as if they were children. This mental way of looking at your relationship with your staff will distance you from the level of respect that is required to deliver an effective no. And when we say effective no here, that means a no that will be understood and be respected by the employee. If you say no to your staff the same way you say no to children, you will only cause outrage, the employees will be swallowing hard and building up resentment, and before long, they will be already looking for other job opportunities. Understand the request, the motivation, and the context. The problem is that your employee has probably thought a lot before approaching you to make the request. And what is more, if you've got some good people on your team, it is quite likely that they have already been feeding their emotional bank account long before coming to ask you for something. In other words, maybe they have already been working really hard in the recent months, they're giving their best in the times of crisis because you really needed them the most. Do you know what I mean? So it's quite likely that as far as they are concerned, their request is really reasonable and they feel like they deserve a yes from your side. And when you say no, that can be a big turn-off. Therefore, you should never assume that you are already understanding the full request, the motivation behind it, or the context of it. Your first impulse, especially if you're always in a great rush to finish your tasks, is to say that you already understood the request, and you already assessed the possibility, and then in that rush, you will give your yes or your no right away. Please hold that impulse, take a deep breath, and remember this video. Before saying yes or saying no, show a little bit of curiosity first. Ask for further information, and then you will allow the acknowledgement at the emotional level to happen. And then the employee will see that you are treating them with respect. You will learn valuable information at this time. One thing that happens often is that the employee will feel a little bit shy, anxious, nervous whenever they're putting a request forward. And for that reason, there is a chance that they are not expressing themselves clearly, or maybe they will forget to say something important. So here's one extra tip for you. You may say that you cannot give them an answer at that specific moment, and then you need to have them submitting the request in writing. So you ask them to write a request. This is going to be written in a brief way. This will allow both of you to calmly assess all the aspects, all the important aspects of this matter, and then you also avoid bad communication issues. The written request is also going to be more objective and more professional. Furthermore, the written communication will enable you to forward the request to other departments, for example, the finance department or the legal department, before you authorize or reject it. Learn how to say no to suggestions and ideas. Imagine a situation in which your staff are very excited about a certain idea that they're presenting you, but that you cannot accept because that idea is not really consistent with the general plans of the company. Before you dismiss the idea, you must note something very important. You've got very engaged employees. These are people who are actively thinking about ways how to improve their work. Since they don't have all the experience and all the background information and all the things that you know about what's going on within the company, maybe their suggestion is not suitable, but the attitude is valuable. Therefore, you don't want to turn them off by saying just no without explaining why. This would lower people's level of engagement, and little by little you would end up with a staff who don't really care about doing anything beyond the bare minimum. That's why it is important that you always recognize whenever they're bringing something to you. Explain to them your decision. Talk a little bit more about the reason why you are rejecting the suggestion. And that way you will be appreciating their opinion, and it won't look like the type of a closed person who does not want to hear anything from them. You can thank them for the suggestion, you can keep the doors open, and you can explain that the fact that they are bringing you suggestions and ideas is a very important, very valuable thing. They can continue to do that whenever they have any other ideas or even questions. Set clear and consistent rules. You can avoid problems simply by setting clear policies for decision making. If your employees understand the rules, everything is going to be much easier. What you don't want is to come up with new rules and new exceptions all the time. That may give the impression that the decisions in your company depend on your mood or being friends with you, and that would lead to favoritism and also unprofessional attitudes. Be clear and respectful in your communication. Your decision must be based on what is best for the company. Explain the reason why you are rejecting the request in a clear and transparent way. Show how the company's interests are being affected by your decision making. In addition to clarity, you also need to be firm. Don't make up excuses. If you use too many softeners in your communication, saying, oh, I'm so sorry about that, but I would love to say yes, but this time's kind of difficult. This may give a wrong idea, a wrong image that maybe they need to continue insisting. This is a confusing signal. They may think that if they had asked in a different way, there would be a chance of you saying yes. Finish up your communication with a positive tone. Use your creativity together with the employee to think of ways for you to be able to achieve a positive response, and always remember to acknowledge them. Don't make your staff feel embarrassed. Explain that suggestions and requests are important for the company and the commitment for the whole team, and this is good communication. Keep the door open for them to continue providing you new suggestions and also new requests. Explain the reasons behind your no, and if you want, you can say that if the conditions change, you can review the matter in case there is a real possibility of saying yes in the future. Whenever you have trouble communicating clearly, you can watch the videos of the course How to Say No as many times as you need. It's a crash course that you can start and also finish today. It's very fast and it has a lot of exercises for you to help in changing the way you communicate, both in professional and also personal contexts.